Great that you're with me. I'm glad to see you guys. I'm Dr. Jen Caudle, practicing family physician, on-air health expert, and video creator. All right, let's just jump to it. I've said for a while that I was concerned that we would have additional variants, that cases would go back up at some point. I'm not saying that I'm right, but I am saying that we are seeing signs of increased COVID cases. And this is what you should know, okay? What I'm about to read, the statistics and data that I'm giving you are from a multitude of news sources and also from the CDC data published on its website itself. Let's just start with COVID cases. So first of all, you guys remember me talking about the BA.2 variant. That's sort of the subvariant of Omicron. That's the Omicron subvariant. I've done videos on the BA.2 variant. I'm not going to talk a lot about that variant tonight because I've done videos specifically on that. That was a variant that we started seeing at the end of like the big peak of Omicron, right? As it was coming back down, there was like a BA.2 that was starting to pop up. And I remember I was calling it like the cousin for regular Omicron. Long story short, is BA.2 Omicron variant we feel is more highly transmissible than the original Omicron. Scientists don't think it's necessarily more dangerous right now, but as I always say, in this world of COVID, it's important to kind of never say never. But this BA.2 variant has sort of it's kind of been sort of percolating all this time, even though cases in the United States have gone down. I'm going to read you some numbers. The BA.2 sort of been sort of like a low rumble that's been happening. And there's always been this question of, will this variant be a problem? Will it become a problem? Will it grow, et cetera? Well, at this point now, it's up to 12% of new cases here in the United States. So it has been slowly, steadily creeping up. Now, in the United Kingdom and in Europe, it's over 50% of cases that we're seeing. Now, this is what we should talk about because part of the headline for this video was that COVID cases are increasing. So that's BA.2, but let me tell you and discuss how. First of all, let me explain what the situation here on the ground is for the U.S. Cases are down, hospitalizations are down, deaths are down, okay? So now you're like, well, hey, it can't be down and up at the same time. You're right, but let me just go through it. Cases were at 33,310 cases per day. That's down 47% from 2 weeks ago. That's awesome. 27,901 daily hospitalizations, down 43% from 2 weeks ago. That is awesome. Now, by the way, I say awesome in the sense that it's better. It doesn't mean that it's great. Okay, there's still more hospitalizations and cases than we want. Deaths are down to about 1,100 or so per day. That's 33% down from a couple of weeks ago. That's still too high. It's 1,100 deaths per day. That's higher than, at some points during the pandemic, but it's down. Just to give you sort of a global perspective, okay, this is important. The U.S. in general, throughout this COVID pandemic, has logged 79, almost 80 million COVID cases and almost 1 million deaths, about 965,000. From a world standpoint, there's been 460 million cases, 6 million deaths. So I give you all these numbers as I'm going into the data because I want you to just sort of get a frame of reference. Yes, if you feel like cases are better and deaths and hospitalizations, you are absolutely right about that. However, there's been some data that's been popping up recently that makes us concerned that cases start to go up here. And that's what I'm about to tell you about. Oh, by the way, in the United States, about 65% of people are fully vaccinated, and then 44 have their booster as well. So there's a lot of people who still need to get their booster. I literally talk to patients every single day, many of which who are fully vaccinated with the 2 doses, but don't want to get the booster. Guys, you need to get your booster. Okay. Please don't consider it optional, but I digress. Okay. So then you're like, well, what's making us concerned? You say, why, Dr. Jen, is your headline called COVID cases increasing? Because you just told us that the COVID cases are going down. Well, what's making us worried are a few things. Number one, you guys have probably heard about what's going on in China. COVID cases in China are up like literally 377%. I know you guys have heard or seen the headlines. I've been posting posts in my Facebook group. I got the COVID vaccine. By the way, if you're interested in joining that on Facebook, it's in the pinned comment, and on YouTube, it's in the comment in the description of the video. Join that group. And that's all about COVID. So you see that many places in China are on lockdown right now. They are literally on lockdown because of the number of COVID cases and the steep rise in cases. Over 300, almost 400% in the United Kingdom. It's also a place where we're seeing an increase in cases, about 52%, according to some estimates. I know a lot of my followers, a lot of you guys are in the UK. For those of you who are awake right now in the UK, let me know what's going on in your neck of the woods. And by the way, if you watch this on replay, let me know what's happening in the UK. Let me know what's happening in your world. But cases are estimated to be up about 52%. Why that matters, what's happening in China and in the UK, is because the way that this pandemic has gone in the past is that what typically has happened in other parts of the world generally eventually comes around to the United States. We often see trends beginning in other parts of the world, whether it's China, whether it's South Africa, whether it's the UK or what have you, and then we eventually see it come over to the States. So that's one thing that sort of makes scientists concerned, is that we're seeing upticks in other parts of the world. Okay. Now, the other thing that is giving many scientists some pause is wastewater samples. And I know you're like, what? Wastewater? Who? Wastewater samples like sewage. Mhm. Believe it or not, that's actually one way that we try and track COVID. It's one way to sort of see if COVID is likely to increase in a certain place by tracking sewage. And I know you're saying, what are you talking about? So, this is the thing, people with COVID can actually shed COVID-19 virus in sewage, that is wastewater, several days before they ever show symptoms. So we can actually detect COVID-19 in wastewater and in sewage long before the person who was using the restroom or what have you develops symptoms and then goes to get a test, which is then reported. That result is reported to, the health department or the CDC or what have you. So that's how wastewater samples actually can be an indicator of what might be to come. And what we're finding with these wastewater samples, CDC scientists are tracking these. There's different samples of wastewater being tracked in different parts of the country. But basically, they're finding that there is an increase in COVID-19 in wastewater samples that are being detected. Okay. And that could be an early warning sign that COVID cases may increase here in the United States. Now, the truth is, we don't know for sure, but the headline to this video is correct, that COVID cases are increasing in many parts of the world, China, the UK, and perhaps other places. The big question is if it's going to increase here. And we think there's going to be. I mean, many scientists seem to think that this is an ominous sign, a warning sign that we may be in for trouble because of these wastewater samples showing increased COVID cases and such. Okay. And also that COVID cases are increasing in other parts of the world. One news source, I think I saw this or heard this quote on NBC Nightly News tonight, but one news source got a quote from Fauci, who was talking about why this may be happening, right? So I know you guys, many of you are reading and you're listening, and welcome, by the way. Thank you for watching, and I love you. You guys are amazing. You're like my people. You know that. You're like my people. Thank you for the stars on Facebook. Thank you for the super chats and super stickers on YouTube. This is the thing. I know many of you are saying, oh my gosh, are we going to have to go in lockdown? Oh my gosh, I'm so sick of this. Oh my gosh, don't tell me another variant. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? And this is the thing, I've said, and many people have said, that we didn't think we were going to see the end of this, even with the wave going down. I mean, we certainly have sort of released mask mandates, and a lot of restrictions have been released. I saw that the White House is now doing in-house or in-person tours again. A lot of things are sort of going back to normal-ish. But we've known that COVID is not over. Okay. And it wouldn't surprise me, and I've said this before, it wouldn't surprise me if we go through phases where COVID is up and then it's down and then it's up and then it's down and then it's up. It's not to say that we're definitely going to have an up period, but some of the signs that we're seeing make scientists or making some people concerned that we may have an increase in COVID cases. Okay. And that we are headed that direction. Now, Fauci, said that he feels, why is this happening? He said a few things. Number one, this Omicron BA2 variant. And by the way, for those of you who are saying, oh my gosh, is this a new variant? Well, it's new in the last few months, but it's not new as of today. This is not like, oh, let me tell you about this new variant. Oh, BA2. Da-da! No, this is a variant we've been talking about for the last 2 months. It was detected. I did videos on this even back in January when it was first detected. We just didn't know what it would do. And it's still not dominant or like going crazy great guns here, but it's risen here. And we know it's predominant in other places. Anyway, Fauci says we know Omicron BA2 is more transmissible than other variants, but it's not necessarily more severe. So maybe, or perhaps likely, COVID cases are perhaps going to increase, or we're seeing an uptick is because Omicron BA2 is more transmissible. And more transmissible means that it's more easily spread. Something that is more highly transmissible means that it can be spread a lot faster, a lot easier, with a lot less contact, spending less time in person, that you can get it quicker, more easily than something else. That's what more transmissible means. And so if something is more easily transmissible or more transmissible, that means you have to do less to get it. You have to be in harm's way less time to still have a greater chance of getting it. Okay. The other thing he says is that, of course, we've relaxed mask mandates, right? So that's the other thing. We talked about this throughout the whole way. I know how many of you guys feel because you watch my videos. We have talked about this from the beginning. As mask mandates were released, we talked about this a month or two ago. I asked you all, I said, how do you feel? Are you going to go without a mask? A lot of you said, I don't know about this. I don't know that I'm ready about this. But the fact that mask mandates have gone away in many places is naturally going to increase transmission. The other thing is that Fauci also said that there's waning immunity or decreasing immunity from not only natural waning immunity from vaccination or prior infection. So that means for those of you who are like gung-ho natural immunity, which by the way, I am, but I've always said this, natural immunity can wane. Natural immunity does not necessarily mean that it's strong immunity or long-lasting immunity. I've said that. I'm a fan of natural immunity, but it's variable. Natural immunity doesn't mean that you're bulletproof, okay? Natural immunity wanes too. So Fauci is saying the waning of natural immunity and immunity from getting the vaccine is also likely contributing to this risk. Okay. So, and there's likely a number of other sort of factors that are going on. Guys, this is what we have to be thoughtful about. And I'm talking about it right now. I haven't done a COVID vaccine segment or COVID segment in a long time. Okay. We've been talking about other things, general health topics, because for once in a while, we've been able to do that. But you know what? COVID is rearing its head. We don't know that this is going to be an all out. I don't think we'll have a shutdown. I don't think this country would stand for a shutdown. I don't think people would shut down even if they were told to shut down. Do you? Write in the comments. Do you actually think that people would shut down if they had to? I think people would be like, shut who? I know you ain't talking to me. That's just what I think. I think people would, stick up their middle finger to, shut down. But, you know, but the question is, so what does this mean? How many cases are we going to have? How long? We don't know. And maybe this doesn't turn out to be anything. But why I'm talking to you is because there are early signs that suggest that it may be something and that we need to be on guard and that we may be looking at something in the future, meaning more cases. Okay. So what does that mean for you? That means that you need to stop and think about your individual risk. And you just think about your comfort level. You need to think about your tolerance. You need to think about whether you're vaccinated or not. You need to think about what you do for work and who you live with and how high risk people are. All the things I've been telling you to think about in this world where masks are not required in many places, you need to think about that now. And that's how you should make your decisions about whether you mask or not. Also, take into consideration the environment that you're in. Are you in a highly unvaccinated environment, or are you in a mostly vaccinated environment? Are you in an environment with a lot of COVID cases, or are you not? Are you a healthcare worker? Or are you not? It's a lot of stuff to take into consideration, but the bottom line is you've got to do what makes sense for you. And wearing masks are perfectly okay. You guys know that. Just because you don't have to wear a mask doesn't mean that